Hey everybody, how's it going out there? Hope well. Um, just figured I'd drop a few lines. I had a couple people ask me, you know, how low was it in my point of life when I was doing drugs? How bad did it get? What was the lowest part of my life? Well, the lowest part of my life was when I was into it really bad. I was into the powder really bad and tripping out along with the drinking. And I completely lost my mind. I got kicked out of where I was living. I moved in with certain people, but I was bouncing from house to house. And then, it got to the point where I was getting so bad, I wasn't eating, I was just drinking, I was sick. And, then I was threatening people in the family. I even threatened a couple of friends. I also, got to the point where I was homeless. I was living in an abandoned house in the dead of winter. That totally sucked. All they had with me was a spring jacket, the clothes on my back, just how bad it was, It brought me to an ultimate low. And that's not a place I'd ever want to go again. Eventually, it got to the point where I wasn't working. I couldn't afford any of the drugs and the drinking, so I started going through a little bit of a withdrawal. I was still able to get my fixes. Like I said, would take stuff and stuff like that, which I 100% regret, just to get money to get the fix and the drink. And then I came to a January night. It was really cold. It was an ice storm. Like I said, all I had was a spring jacket on, and I was walking, and I walked for 3 hours in the middle of an ice storm, snowstorm. I was high, I was buzzing, but I walked all the way from wherever I was at that point, all the way back to my mother's house. And I was so cold, my skin was a different color. And she let me back in. She forgave me. And then I ended up living there again. And I started getting my life back together. I still did my partying and stuff like that. I was still getting pretty screwed up. But I started treating people different. I was starting to treat them better. I was starting to get a head on my shoulders. Then, I ended up getting a job. It was actually Jablu. He was already working at the golf course the country club that I worked at. The first time he ever saw me, I was driving around in a little silver K car, and my hair was orange. I was all messed up. And I started talking to him, and me and him clicked. He ended up helping me get the job there. That was the greatest job I ever had. It was the best years of my life with him, working there. Jablu was a really good dude. Is a really good dude, I should say. Me and him still talk to this day. It was rough when I first started. I was still getting really screwed up and stuff, There was a couple times where, I'd be weed whacking and, I wanted to go get high, and I'd leave the weed whacker on and next to the green. The boss would come by and be like, "Where's Rib?" Nobody knows. I was out somewhere doing something crazy. And then, I would, like one Saturday I was supposed to cut greens. I cut them. I ended up cutting the wrong 5th green, and then I forgot about 8, 9 in the practice green. So when I went in that Monday, the boss was like, you know, you forgot a few greens, they're like long as hell. I'm like, oh crap, I thought I did. He's like, how much you have to drink that day? He's like, because I can smell the booze on your breath now. You know, like, oh, you know. He's like, you can't all drink Anheuser-Busch. He's like, I've tried. I'm like, yeah, I know, I've tried too. But anyway, you know, then things started going okay, you know. And they told me how to, what did I say, train me on the cups, on the greens. And I thought I was doing good, and then I accidentally put one of the cups where right next to the edge of the green. And boss was like, how the hell is anybody gonna get a ball into that? So I had to redo it. And then I started getting screwed up again, you know, really bad. I ended up leaving temporarily. My buddy Jablu ended up getting me back in. And I stayed there, God, mid-90s to the early 2000s, and me and him, you know, rocked that place. It was, you know, golf course, condos. I actually lived on the site, so it was roll out of bed, I'm at work. So that was like beautiful. And, you know, our boss ended up getting terminated because, you know, he was a nice guy, but then it got to the point, you know, he wouldn't do anything except sit on his rear all day and wear the steering wheel out of the little pickup truck that we had for the country club. You get into it, it's a brand new truck, and the steering wheel is like deteriorated in 2 spots because you just sit there in the truck and go, duh. But me and Jablu, we took care of 60 acres all by ourselves after he was gone. It was just me and him. We took care of it. We loved it. You know, we used to weed whack around a pond. And the first maintenance man, he was a nice person, but man, he used to throw all his dog crap on the side of the banking, and we didn't know it, and the grass was high. And me and Jablu were weed whacking the whole embankment and stuff, and all of a sudden, we were just talking about it like 5 minutes before we started. You know, we get dog crap on us, we're gonna be pissed. Because we saw him throw some in firsthand, and he's like, oh, I picked it up, and then, yeah, we go over there weed whack, and Jablu weed whacks down, because he had the brush cutter, I had the regular weed whacker. And he gets a big wad of it smashed right into his face. He was pissed. All of a sudden, Jablu throws the weed whacker right into the pond. And I'm like, uh-oh, he's gonna blow a fuse. And, you know, we took a half-hour break for lunch. He went home, got changed, came back. You know, kind of told the maintenance man off a little, you know, put your dog crap in the trash or something. I mean, that's where he should have put it, not in the, over where we cut grass and stuff. And then that, you know, he was great. The maintenance man was awesome, though. That first one was, anyway. All 3 of us used to play pranks on each other. I mean, he used to do stuff to our cars, put ketchup under the windshield wipers, under the door handles, because we all had the older cars back then. And we'd get him back, too. You know, one day he went out to his truck. He went to go sit in it, and it was a lounge chair. Me and Jablu took the whole bench seat out of his truck, put it in the workshop, and put 2 lounge chairs in the... He was pissed. Yeah. The other part we did to him was, you know, joking around. We all laughed about it, you know. I mean, we'd be a little ticked off at that first time, but, you know, and then we'd laugh about it 10 minutes later. He got into his truck, trying to figure out why, dead of winter, why his truck was stinking so bad. I ended up putting a dead fish in his heating system. But it was easy access to get it in and out. But anyway, it was a little prank that we used to pull on him and stuff. Like me and Jablu ride around a little Cushman, a 3-wheeler Cushman, a dump body. Kept telling the boss before we took over, you know, you gotta fix this thing. There's no brakes in it. It was a manual shift, so at least we know how to slow the brake thing down with the shifting. And yeah, the boss before he left was on the side of the road because he had no brakes. Couldn't pull over quick enough, and somebody rear-ended him. Ended up bending the Cushman. Yeah, I used to do donuts with that thing. That thing was a little fun. And then we had the little golf cart. Yeah, that thing was a riot. I ended up rolling that thing. And Jablu used to ride a big red mower. And this is when the old boss was there. He just got done pouring out. He's like, oh, we'll cut the hills. And we're like, really? The thing needs new tires before we can go up there. And Jablu was looking at me, yelling at me to come over. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I just rolled this damn thing. Had to go get the boss in the truck and pull him out. And it's like, I don't know. It was fun. But then like I said, when me and Jablu took it over, it was even better. We'd train people, do what we did. You know, we didn't sit around waiting for, just sit around and let them do all the work like our old boss did. We were right there with them. We had some people that we hired that were, definitely not cut out for it. We're over there lifting big rocks and doing stuff, and that kid's just sitting there going, dur, dur, dur. But we tell him to go put the irrigation system on. He didn't have a clue, even though we showed him 5 times. What if me and Jablu were fixing the irrigation system one day, telling him to not move the pipe, the new kid not to move the pipe. What's he do? He disconnects it. We told him we were going to test the irrigation because we had just fixed the pipe and he took the piece off, so all of a sudden we had a flood in the middle of the golf course. To say the least, that kid did not last. Then the other maintenance man left, and then we got a new maintenance man. I ended up being friends with him, but in the long run, he was the biggest dumbass I ever met. Jablu will agree. He didn't know how to do much. Here we are, the groundskeepers, and he's asking us how to fix a porch on one of the condos. It's like, dude, you're the construction worker, you don't know how to do it. Well, I cut a piece of wood, but it's too short. Well, apparently you're not a construction worker then, because obviously you're a dumbass. Then he couldn't figure out how to get his truck or the company truck working. I tell them the starter's going. Well, I don't know how to get it started. I'm like, take a hammer and bang the starter, it'll start, but don't shut it off. Go pick up a starter and put it in. What's he do? He shuts it off at a gas station, can't get the thing running again. Calls us to come tow him with a pickup truck. I'm like, dude, it's not at the club, we can't do that. You gotta call a wrecker. And the club made him pay it out of his own pocket because he knew about the thing beforehand. But he wasn't the brightest maintenance man. He was more concerned about his little pickup truck. Making that thing look all whacked out. I mean, he was adding stuff to his pickup that was kind of overboard. But anyway, me and Jablu, we loved it. I mean, it was the best. We were on a lot of stuff when we were doing it, but we were still functioning and we knew what we were doing. I mean, that place, Christmas time, a lot of the people that lived there, they'd get us beer, they'd get us bottles for Christmas. We'd be cutting the course during the day. They'd bring us out stuff, drinks. But in the long run, in the early 2000s, the trustees, everybody there loved us. They loved what we did with the course, with all the properties. But the trustees felt that they were paying us too much. So they decided to hire a outcoming company, private contracted company, which actually cost them 10 times more. So, so they had one contractor for the golf course and another one to cut all the condos. So, again, trustees, they're the dumbasses. But, me and Jablu still keep in touch to this day. We both miss working there. but all things came to an end. It was the best times of our lives, like I said, we were screwed up on things, but we still functioned. And, then it came to the fact of, ended up having, my wife was pregnant, she gave me the ultimatum, and I got clean. It's the only thing you can do. You do go down to the deep lows, Like I said, I lived in an abandoned house. I lived on the streets in the woods for a while. That's what drug addiction does, alcoholism. You don't care about anything. You really don't. If it wasn't for Jablu and my wife, I never got my life straight. He helped me start to get my life straight. And my wife, same thing. They helped me like no other. I helped him too. We were both screwed up on stuff. Do we regret it? At the time we do, at that point in time when you're doing it, you don't regret it. But we look back on it now, we talk about it, and it's like, damn, wish we never touched that shit. It's just, me and him don't drink anymore. We don't do drugs. Smoke butts, yeah, we do that, But, we drink a lot of coffee now. I'd rather drink coffee and soda and water. Instead of smelling like a brewery all the time. My cars smell like a brewery. I had some nice things and I threw them away. All because of the addiction. Is it really worth losing everything and the respect of people just for a fix or to get a buzz? No. Me personally, same thing with him. I have a couple other buddies that I've been friends with for years too, and we helped each other out. Some of my friends didn't reach the low as I reached, but they reached to a point. Some of my buddies I don't even talk to anymore because they still live in that world of let's get high, let's get drunk, and I don't want any part of it. I'll still be your buddy, but I ain't gonna hang out with you until you get clean. I'll talk to you on the phone, I'll text you, I don't care. Nothing wrong with that, but I ain't gonna hang with you. I can't be around that stuff. One, the smell of weed and stuff makes me sick to my stomach now. I can't stand it. And, I know some people smoke weed for health issues, that's fine. Smoke it for the health issues, I don't care about that. But when you're smoking it just to get high, it's not worth it. It's really not. It needs to be used for people that actually need it, cancer patients and whatever. It's just a fact of life. What's the point of going out and getting high, get into car wrecks, wreck your life? Almost wind up in prison. Like I said, I almost wound up in prison for 5 to 10 years, and I was almost going into federal prison. But you know what? I learned from my mistakes. And that's all you can do, is learn from your mistakes and move forward one day at a time. And I'm still making up for stuff. I could be making up for stuff for the rest of my life, I don't know. But as long as I got my wife by my side, our health, my daughter's health, my buddy's health, we're all going to be there until the end. We all leave this planet at one point. Do I believe in reincarnation? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure we'll be back around in a different body. Our souls will always be around. But, I know a lot of people don't believe in that, I don't really talk religion much on this. It's not really... Everybody's religion's different, what they believe in and stuff, I believe in a lot of different things. I believe in ghosts, spirits, demons, and all that. But, hey, that's what I believe in. Not everybody does. Everybody has their own forte. But if you can, get clean, It'd be the best thing for you, everybody. You know, the best thing you can do. You don't know how much of life you're missing because you're high and drunk all the time. And once you become clean and clear in the mind, it's a whole new world out there of enjoyment and satisfaction. But on that note, if you're liking my videos, please subscribe. You know, if you comment, I do respond to everybody. That's just what I do. You know, you're watching my content, so I want to see your opinions and speak to everybody too. You know, but anyway, share my videos, like them, subscribe please. See if we can hit 500 subscribers. And on that note, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.